following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. Cardinal baseball, past, present, and future. And Gene Hutmaker is the host. He's here. The co-host, Al Blumkin. How you doing, Gene?
Fine.
Al Blumkin is unaccounted for so far. He may be joining us in a moment or so. But we are blessed. All-time Cardinal fan who is a bit under the weather, I would say, Jerry Hollis, well enough to join us tonight to talk spring training Cardinal baseball. And we're happy to have you back, Jerry.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Okay. Is there anything about the first few week and a half maybe of games with the Cardinals in the spring that stands out to you?
Well, I will definitely say that our AAA team Memphis is going to be looking good again this year. You know how many people know it, but we pretty much smashed everybody in that league last year. We had a really good team. I mean, it amazes me how much talent we have down there because, you know, we had 5 or 6 of their guys up here helping us over half the year, and they still ran away with their division, and you know, they just about won it all. I don't know if they have a World Series or exactly what they have. I guess they just call it a championship or whatever. But
Jimmy, I think they play
but our Memphis team,
they
ran away with those.
Yeah. Al Blumkin, I think you joined us.
Yeah.
How are you, Al?
I have a couple of phone problems here. So.
Okay, well, that's the nature of the beast these days.
You're lucky you're not.
Internet is controlling the phones.
You're lucky you're not in this part of the world right now.
Yeah. Al, Jerry Hollis has joined us once again. He's the all-time Cardinal fan, and he's giving us a bit of a rundown on the Cards. Why don't we give him a chance to breathe a little bit, and I'll ask Gene Hutmaker if you would be kind enough to mix in your 2 cents. What's happening in Cardinal world these days? Gene?
Which one are you talking to?
Not Jerry, but Gene. Gene Hutmaker.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Oh, okay. Gene's off the line. Al, anything about the Cards you can chip in on?
About this coming season?
Yeah. What's going on? Anything that impresses you or doesn't impress you?
Well,
they're in the same division as your Pirates.
Yeah, well, they're better than the Pirates, that's for sure. The Pirates will probably chase. Pirates will probably fight the Reds, who just fought the last in that division. Now, I think the Cardinals. I think one of Jerry probably agrees. One of the smartest decisions they made was to let Jason Hayward walk. Because he's been.
I'll bet that's Gene joining us again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got cut off somehow. I got a different phone.
Gene, I was just saying that one of the best decisions the Cardinals have made in the last couple of years was to let Jason Hayward walk.
Absolutely. Very high price.
$20 million or whatever he gets.
Yeah, he's got 2 opt-outs, and he's on an 8-year deal, and the guy just doesn't produce anywhere near what that kind of money players should do.
You know, it always surprises me. Pujols is one of them. I remember a number of guys, Garcia Giampara, the shortstop, going along, having terrific years, and all of a sudden they have dramatic drop-offs. in our very, very late 20s, early 30s. What do you attribute Jason Hayward's drop-off to, guys?
The Angels gave Pujols 10 years, and from what I understand, he didn't even have a 300 OBA list, on-base percentage last year. He's also
he did get the 100 RBIs again. I know.
I think he also has the career lead for most grounding into double plays. I think he surpassed Cal Ripken last year.
Yeah, he's the leader now. But the games that I saw with the Angels, he seems to hit the ball hard all the time. And I don't think the Angel Park. I think he has a lot of warning track flies too. But a lot of games,
that's not exactly the greatest home run ballpark in the world.
Yeah. If he was at Fenway, he'd probably have about 15 more homers.
Yeah, and Jay, I wanted to say, I saw your post about Eddie Seacott. It was a little bit off the track, but I think that the movie Eight Men Out, I haven't read the book in ages, but the movie played a little bit fast and loose with the truth.
Yeah. They said that might have happened in 1928. I mean, in 1918, when he won it in 1970, he had 28 wins.
Yeah.
And he didn't pitch the rest of the season then.
Yeah.
The $10,000 thing might have been that year.
Yeah. That's what I think, yeah.
What kills me with all the contracts that they're passing out this year is everything is front loaded with their contracts. If you know, I don't know if you know what I mean by front loaded. Like Yu Darvish, his contract's front loaded to where the point, and who was the guy that there was another guy. Anyway, but Yu Darvish's contract is front loaded to where he gets all the biggest majority of his money in the first 2 to 3 years, and then he's got an opt-out clause to where he can say, okay, this ain't working out. So then he's got all this money, and you're stuck looking stupid.
Yeah.
Well, Clayton Kershaw has an opt-out after this year.
Well, the owners are not going for the long contracts anymore, and Arrieta's still nowhere yet. Probably they're talking about him going to the Phillies.
Exactly.
Was there a grievance case filed earlier in the week?
Yeah, against the Rays, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the A's, because they feel that they're not, living up to the basic agreement by, not paying anybody anything, comparatively.
Well, I think I've said this on another podcast recently. Is it not the players' fault for the player union's fault for agreeing to what amounts to a soft cap?
Of course it is. If Miller or Field was still had the charge of the union, this never would have been an issue. Right.
How could they have disguised it so well? Because what else would it be construed at? They're just limiting the amount of money that they could pay out per franchise.
It's still a lot of money, though.
Oh, no question, it's a lot of money. But it's if somebody's restricting the amount of money that could be paid, I mean, what's the limit? There shouldn't be a limit. Barbara Streisand doesn't have a limit.
Well, the NFL doesn't, so does the NBA. And NHL,
they don't have a limit, am I right?
No, they have caps.
Yeah. Or they do have a limit. Yes, but baseball...
They don't have floors. They don't have floors. They have heights, but they don't have floors. They have ceilings, but they don't have floors.
Right.
In the NBA.
So there's no minimum that they have to... They're claiming that if there was a floor, that these four teams would be below the minimum.
Right. Well, if you look at it, they have forced the issue, basically. I think the union forced the issue by giving in. And it'll be interesting to see later in spring training how many free agents are still out there.
Arrieta's the main one.
Okay.
Moustakas also.
Oh yeah. But I like the bad for the Cardinals that Darvish went to the Cubs.
I'm not a big fan of Darvish.
They said that his playoff was off the pitches.
Yeah, he got buried around twice in the World Series.
Yeah, but he did have
Darvish
a good game.
don't bother me.
No.
Darvish don't bother me because you look at the Cardinal record. Our Cardinals playing the Dodgers last year. We hit him pretty hard actually.
Yeah. Well, you know what Darvish reminds me of back in when we were kids. It was the Don Newcomb days of this guy did so well in the regular season and so poorly in the World Series that he was really a goat and looked at and underrated for his entire career because who got him there? You got Darvish was very instrumental in getting them to the World Series.
I'd like to, I don't know how I would figure it out, but I would be curious to know what the Cardinals record was or how many times Darvish pitched against us last year and what our win-loss record was against him.
Well, I'm not worried about Darvish. I'm worried about him against his overall record.
Yeah. I don't think so. They'll be competitive, but I don't think they're gonna make it to the World Series.
Times because they're in one of the opposite divisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the scheduling. Scheduling is to me is a horror show. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's the imbalanced schedule and what have you.
And you're talking about Don Newcomb. I think they said that the power pitchers then, when they went further than the regular season, they would lose a tad off their fastball, and it'd be easier to clock.
Well, I'll ask you, was that true with Gibson? Was that true with Gibson?
No. Yogi hit 3 home runs off of him in 1956 World Series.
It's been true with Kershaw the last few times. You know, Kershaw he gets to the playoffs and he just gets hammered.
Yeah, he had a 4-0 lead and let it get away.
Yeah.
Now, Gibson.
Gene, would you and Jerry please give us a rundown, go around the horn at the Cardinal team that in spring training and where they need help, and who are the sleepers that may come on strong this year?
I think the Cardinals have a good offense. I just think Wainwright had a good record at win or loss, but his EAR wasn't that good. But Wainwright got to do good. Waka got to do good. They got Martinez. It's all going to hinge on their pitching, and they don't have a solid closer. So that's going to be
they're definitely hurting in the closer department. We got it's been committed by bullpen, and I don't know if you guys caught a glimpse of the game today or not, but they said they didn't think there was anything to worry about, but Bud Norris kind of tweaked his hammy running the first today to cover the bag. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. Which, like I said, he's not our only option, but he was an option, and he's already, like I said, he's already tweaking his hammy in spring training. So, and we just signed him. So
I think they have a nice position players though. Pham might be one of the best outfielders. Ozuna, their outfield is really super.
Yeah.
Carpenter's a good on-base average guy.
Yeah.
How are they up the middle? How's their shortstop and second base combination?
Well, I thought it was going to be Wong and DeJong, and I'm sure it still will. But I'll tell you what, they've had some rookies come up and impress up the middle. They've made some awful good plays. Munoz hit 2 home runs in 1 inning the other day. And,
whoa.
But yeah, our offense, like Gene said, I don't think offense is going to be a problem at all because we've got plenty of offense. It's just a matter of pitching and holding our bullpen together at the end of games is probably our single most problem area right now is closing out.
Jerry, you mentioned a bullpen. You used the expression bullpen by committee. And there are some managers that, and I think the tide may be starting to turn. There are some managers that are looking at using bullpen by committee as an advantage, not a disadvantage. Where in the past, if you didn't have a clear closer, you would use guys in different roles and mix and match. Well, they found statistically that it isn't necessarily the last inning that it determines the game. The game could have been determined in the 7th inning. So it might have been 2nd and 3rd with nobody out against you, and you brought in your 3rd best relief pitcher at that time.
Yeah.
And
honestly, especially with the Cardinals, because that's who I watch, and I'm sure a lot of other teams have the same problem. The most important pitchers on that team aren't the ones in the 9th inning. They're the ones that get you from, depending on how good your starter goes that night, the one that gets you from, say, the end of the 6th through the 8th. Those to me, those are the most important guys in the pen.
Yeah, that's
are those ones that get you for those long inning guys that get you from the 5th or 6th until the 8th.
That's how Terry Francona uses Andrew Miller in Cleveland.
Yeah. Right.
They bring him in the 6th, 7th inning, and they use the guy Allen to close the game out.
I think there's less pressure on you them.
Yeah, who was the 2 guys a couple of years ago for Boston? The one left-handed closer that was just basically unhittable that year.
Uhara was the one who did it in the Cardinals.
Then the guy I'm talking about Boston.
But Uhara in the World Series did it in the Cardinals in 2013.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
They couldn't hit him.
Yeah. Well, they had, like I said, they had 2 guys every night. One of them pitched the 8th, maybe the 7th, and the other one pitched the 9th. And I mean, you couldn't touch them. It was basically automatic. This guy pitched the 7th, and the other one pitched the 9th, and that's just how it was. And
when they had Joba Chamberlain back in 2007, going into Mariano.
Yeah.
But the closer position is the psych thing. The 9th inning, you have to have the psych for that.
Well, that's what the Yankees use Robertson and Betances, and then they bring in Chapman to try to close the game out.
Like I remember Benitez with the Mets. He was great during the year when he flubbed in the World Series.
Benitez is oh God, man! You could write a whole book on the games, the important games that he blew. The more important the games were, the worse he was.
Yes, and I think his reputation went to other teams too, Benitez. It wasn't just the Mets.
No, it was the Orioles. It was every place he went.
Yeah, I think the San Francisco Giants had him for a while. Yeah, he was horrible. Absolutely. When I was a kid, the best lefty-righty combination in baseball, I thought, was Jim Brosnan and Bill Henry.
The 1961 Reds.
Yes.
61 Reds.
Speaking of a left-hander and a right-hander.
Morsi and Ray Narleski for the Indians in the mid-50s.
Yeah, they were excellent, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Morsi was left and Narleski was right. Yeah, Henry and Brosnan were the 61 Reds when they beat the They won a pennant that year.
59 White Sox, Turk Lown and Jerry Staley.
Yeah. Oh, here I'll give you one. How about the Giants with Uncle Marv and Hoyt Wilhelm, Marv Grissom and Hoyt Wilhelm. They were pretty decent.
Yeah, well, Hoyt was like, that wasn't really he just threw that knuckleball, whether it's righty or lefty, didn't really matter because
I have caught a knuckleball pitcher before, and I don't think it matters right or left. You can't hit one of them damn things. You just can't do it.
Except Mickey Mantle with Barney Shelton, 64.
If they've got a good knuckleball, you're not going to hit it.
Oh, the Indians brought this Gene Bearden up in 1948. He won 20 games with throwing.
Two in the World Series.
And then
one in the World Series and a save.
Yeah, and Stengel came to the Yankees in 49, managing the Coast League. He says the guy can't throw a knuckleball for a strike. And the rest of the stuff was, not really major league. And he hung around for a few more years because of that 1 year. But he was really ineffective after that. After Stengel came to the Yankees.
Hey, I got to thank you guys again for the Barney and Joe Schultz confusion that I've had going on in my head for all these many years since 1969. Barney Schultz and Joe Schultz were two separate guys. I wonder now if they were related. Joe Schultz was the manager of the Seattle Pilots when
1 year that they were in Seattle, he was the manager.
He was ball four.
Wrote that book.
Yeah, he was in ball four.
Yeah.
And Marty still saved the Cardinals in '64 when they called him up. 38 years old, he had like a one earned run average in the for Jacksonville in the International League when they called him up, and nobody could hit him. The only one that could ever hit him was Mantle for the home run in Game 3. But other than that, he had like 7 or 8 saves down the stretch when the Phillies had their Gene walk panic button collapse.
You guys on that Cardinal team had little Alvin Jackson too, and if I'm not mistaken, he was a swing man. He'd relieve and start as well, but he was very solid, former New York Met. Relief pitching is, and another thing about relief pitching that's so frustrating for general managers is you cannot determine from year to year. It's easier to predict starters and their effectiveness. They'll live up to their baseball card more so than relievers will historically. Yeah. So you build the bullpen that you think is dynamite, and it just goes down the tubes. And I'll give you a good example. Last year with the Mets, last few years with the Mets, they've had 2 closers go down to drugs, Familia and the other guy who I can't remember.
Yeah.
And they had Addison Reed, who'd been just going along, terrific setup man for 2-3 years. Last year he had a terrible year.
The Twins gave Addison Reed a fairly big contract for the next 2 years.
Yeah. And speaking of future closers, perhaps the Texas Rangers signed Timmy Lincecum.
Oh yeah, I was going to get into that. I was hoping you'd touch on that. That was kind of a shock to me.
Yeah. Were the Cardinals in contention for him, Jerry?
They went to the, when he pitched in front of everybody, they was curious enough to go watch, but I don't really think they was ever considering bringing him in. That's too much of a risk.
I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I mean, if he goes back to the form that he, first had, then we're all gonna be looking stupid. But if not, then
that's a very.
I don't know, man. The last time I seen him pitch, he was getting rocked pretty hard.
He was, but he had some sort of conditioning program, and he's over the winter, and he's motivated by his death.
That's a very, very
tragic
death. That usually doesn't happen.
His older brother passed away, and it's given him a whole new motivation.
Well, it's all about location. Got to locate the pitches.
Right.
Yes.
Did you guys hear about Rusty Staub?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. He's got kidney failure and not doing
Oh,
well.
no. I hate to hear that.
Say he's not
I hadn't heard that one.
Not responding
to dialysis anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. That's horrible. That's, what can you say? I don't know if he's a candidate for a transplant or if that's been considered.
There's a long waiting list for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Too bad. Very
great. That's sad. Yeah,
he was
that's
a former Cardinal and San Francisco Giant, Orlando Cepeda, who had
been he's
a lot
better.
He's doing a lot better. Somebody
right now. Yeah.
Also Lou Brock, he's got cancer. I haven't heard anything on him recently, but he's got cancer. So remember he Lou Brock in Prairie Sioux. Yeah, he announced it last year, but I'm not sure. I haven't heard him say how bad he is or nothing else, but he's got cancer also.
Well, let's wish him the best as well.
Lou was my favorite. He was my favorite all-time player. He was he was all right. I got to watch him play in quite a few games.
I hear something. Dick Groat, who I interviewed 33 years ago now, I asked him about, he was on the Cardinals when that trade was made, and he said, we all thought that we got the worst of the deal. And Brock came over, and Brock was so happy to get away from the College of Coaches and the Cubs that
every Cardinal fan was livid about that trade.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the only positive thing in that trade was that I had a verbal altercation with Bobby Chance, who was a Cardinal reliever in 1963 at the Polo Grounds, and I put the jinx on him. And then the only satisfying thing with me about that trade, that Bobby Chance was traded to the Cubs too, so I got rid of him.
Now, was that Ernie Broglio?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was Ernie Broglio, huh?
Yep.
I think there was a Clemens, not Roger Clemens, there was a Clemens in the deal, I think.
A guy named Doug Clemens.
Yeah.
And when we had the San Francisco convention at Sabre in 1998, Broglio was one of the speakers. He gets up there and says, let's get rid of this right away. He started discussing a trade. He developed a fairly good sense of humor about it.
But he was damaged too, I think.
Yeah, I know,
with the shoulder. That nobody really knew about.
A lot of these pitchers from that era would have 1 or 2 years, and then they hurt their arms. And of course, there wasn't the technology that they have now, and they would hang around for a few more years based on the reputation of their good years, but they were never effective again.
I thought he got jobbed out of his Cy Young in 1960 over in Law, and in fact he came in third. He was 21-7, lost his last 2 games. Made him 21-9, but he was like 16-3 as a starter, because I was at the game when I was at the Connie Mack Stadium, because there was no baseball in New York, so me and my mother went to Connie Mack Stadium. Ernie Broglio gave up a 3-run homer to Tony Gonzalez in the 9th inning to lose, and then in the second game, the Cardinals were losing 3-1, and Hal Smith, not the one who hit the homer in the World Series, the other Hal Smith, he hit a homer to put the Cardinals ahead, and Broglio went up and he won that game, getting Tony Gonzalez out. So he was 1-1 for that game, and then he went 16-3 as a starter the rest of the year because they traded Vinegar Ben Mizell. So Broglio had to go into the starting. He went 16-3. He was 21-7. I thought he was going to take the Cy Young, and he lost his last 2 games that made him 21-9. And Vern Law won the Cy Young with a 20 and 9. I think Braulio led the league in run average that year.
And I think the Hal Smith that you talked about came from your beloved, and I put that in quotes, beloved Yankees. Hal Smith
that was the one on the Pirates.
Yankee farmhand.
No, the one on the Pirates one from the Yankees.
Oh, was it the one on the Pirates?
Yeah.
That was
yeah. He went to
Baltimore.
That's when
I will forget all the time.
He went to Baltimore in that trade. Never played for the Yankees. I went to Kansas City. That's where the Pirates got him from. The other one was strictly a Cardinal.
How about the catchers that came out of that organization in those days? Gus Triandos came out
the whole
of that
American
organization.
League.
Sherm
Sherm
Lawler
Lawler
came out of that.
Lou Berberette was another one. They had tons of them. They were stuck behind Yogi. Yeah.
Right.
And Charlie Silvera, whose whole career was like one season, actually batted .282
in that World Series.
No, he only got.
All for his career. Yes,
his whole career was like one season, like 150 hits, and he batted like .282.
Yeah, 150 at bat. Berra, he played about 50 games in 1949 when Berra missed a month with a broken thumb.
And he was in 5 World Series, 1 at bat, 5 World Series rings.
Yeah,
he had more than that. He had the 50.
He lost 1-0. Preacher Rowe beat him.
Yeah,
that's the World Series ring that he wears. I was sitting with him at a BAT bat dinner, and he was showing me his 1949 ring because that was the game he caught.
Wow.
He was nice enough to give me an interview, a live interview on a cable TV show that I was doing. I brought in a bunch of old-time players. It was out here in California, but I had Leonard Kopic came in, Hank Sauer, Charlie Silvera, Charlie Fox came in, Joe DeMaestri. That was a pretty good series. I have to admit, I've played some interviews on Comfortably Zoned from those guys, and Silvera was gregarious. One thing that he said he said it almost tongue-in-cheek, but you could almost make a case for it, that Reynolds, Lopat, and Rashi. How did I get Lazari out of there? I don't know. But Leonard, they should go in as a trifecta. They should go in the Hall of Fame as a trifecta.
That's not going to happen.
No, that's it. He was just kind of kidding.
They outpitched the Cleveland Hall of Famers of that era.
Yeah.
Wynn, Lemon, and Feller during that 5-year period.
And what was really interesting, the year that the Indians broke through, the year after they'd won 5, the Yankees had won 5 in a row, the Yankees won more games that year than they had in any other 1 year in the streak.
Well, I'll tell you
what
about that season. The White Sox came in third. They won 94 games. The fourth place team was the Red Sox, who won 69. There's a 25-game gap between third and fourth place, and the Indians beat the bottom 5 worse than the Yankees did. That's what got them the pennant.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was really and I think the Indians beat the Red Sox that year 20 out of the 22 times. Plus, you had both the first year of the Orioles and the last year of the Philly A's, and both those teams are absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and
Ralph,
went on that historic World Series with the Giants. What were you going to say, Jerry?
Oh, our buddy Chris that you met through Cardinals Nation.
Yes.
He asked me a question earlier today, who I thought our MVP was going to be on the Cardinals team this year. You know what I told him?
No.
Mike Maddox.
Oh.
He's our pitching coach.
So you could blame him if they start winning. You could give him some credit. That would be great.
I think if we get there, it's going to be, cause he's a heck of he's probably one of the best pitching coaches in the league. And, he's going to have his work cut out for him with all these pitchers that we're trying to shuffle in and out. Do what now?
Molina's still there, right? The catcher?
Yeah, Molina's still there, but
I'm a Pirate fan. In 2013, they gave the MVP award to McCutcheon. I thought Molina was the most valuable player in the National League.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it was Chick to give it to a Pirate because they didn't be in the playoffs like forever.
Yeah, that was 20 years before.
Yeah, Molina should have definitely been the MVP.
Right.
Yeah. I was a Pirate fan. I said that, but I thought Molina was much more valuable to that than McCutcheon was to the Pirates.
Well, yeah. No, when you
let me Benji, you mentioned a pitching coach. The Cardinals had a long-time pitching coach. Hub Kittle was a minor league pitching coach for them forever. Do you know anything about him, Al Blumkin, or?
No, not much more than what you just said.
I think they had a baseball card of him once. I think he was on a coach for
coaches. Probably a coach's card. They had those, yeah.
And that's the only thing I can all of them. Nobody paid attention too much to pitching coaches.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think having, like I said, Molina, Benji's not going to be our, Benji's still a coach there, but he's not our pitching coach. Mike Maddox is our pitching coach.
Right.
But having Mike Maddox, and then we got Willie McGee as our hitting coach, and then having Oquendo back as our base running coach is going to make a world of difference as far as our mistakes and our errors and our
Cardinals got
our concentration, should I say.
Cardinals got McGee from
Gene and Jerry, do you like Matheny as a manager? Do you think he's doing a good job?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think he was put in a tough. I think he was put in a tough position last year when we banked on we banked on Rosenthal coming back and he didn't pan out, and then Reyes, which they still haven't figured out if Reyes is going to be a starter or a closer, but he went down at the first of the year and never did finish for us
this year too.
And so when you start off the year, two or three guns go down, and then of course Wainwright started the year not so good. It took him seven or eight or nine starts before he got his first win, which all that wasn't his fault. But when you got stuff like that going on, it kind of puts you behind the eight ball, and so a lot of that is I don't feel like that was his fault.
Okay, Jerry, you mentioned Memphis. Is there anybody that played last year in Memphis that you think can come up and force the issue and force his way onto the team?
Oh yeah, this Munoz kid. If you haven't seen him play, man, I can't pronounce his name, but his first name starts with an A, but it's Munoz, I think, or something like that. But man, that dude he's playing good. He's fielding good, hitting good, and run. He can run like crazy.
Okay.
He's doing good.
Jerry, what I want to get from you is an example of your singing voice. We've become
Lordy
buddies off the air, and you had a thing on Facebook that with your voice singing, it was terrific. And we don't have any music or anything, but I'd be honored if you just give us a little bit of that country twang that you do so well. I'd like that.
Okay, let me think of something real quick. I don't want to leave
Just off the top of your head.
no dead air, but all right, here's the song "In Color" by Jamie Johnson. I know this is a song probably everybody knows. Hold on just a second. Mama, turn that down, please. All right. Hang on. Okay. Sorry about that. My mom's got her laptop out and she was playing some kind of video or something. There was music in the background.
Okay.
Anyway. Alright, here he goes. In living color. Hold on. Well, I said, Grandpa, what's that picture there? It's all covered. And ain't real clear, is that you there? He said, yeah, I was 11. The times were tough back in 35. That's me and Uncle Joe just trying to survive from Cotton Farm and Great Depression. Well, this is, sorry, my voice is kind of messed up.
Hey.
This looks like we were scared to death. Just a couple of kids just trying to save each other. You should have seen it in color. That's just I wasn't expecting that, so that's just a little tidbit, but I can do better than that with the music.
You also, in the last few weeks, you've been struggling. No question about it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Matter of fact,
one of the things that struck me about your times is that you got to see your grandkid.
Yes.
What was he named? And tell me a little bit, you touched on it the other day, but tell me a little bit about the experience and what that meant to you to be presented with a grandchild.
All righty. Well, his name is Luke Christopher Lindley. He was 6 pounds and 12 ounces when he was born and 18 inches long. And she just took him back to the doctor this week, and he has already gained almost a pound. He's 7 pounds and 9 ounces, and went from 18 to 19 inches long. And man, there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. First time I held him, I couldn't do anything. All I could do was try. And I sat there holding him in my wheelchair, and I'm thinking, this whole time that I've been going through this with my cancer and basically preparing to die, I don't know if I told you or not, but I've already went through and made all the funeral arrangements. I've already bought my tombstone and had it placed. And basically, I've already just got everything done except for them picking at the flowers. I've already went to the funeral home and picked out the casket, and I've already done all this, trying to make sure that my kids are okay. That was my whole concern, is trying to make sure that I had stuff squared away to where this is, it's still going to hurt when I go, but I try to make it as least painful as I can for them. Well, then this baby comes along, and I'm sitting there holding him, just sitting there holding him, looking down in his perfect little face, and thought coming to me that, I'm getting ready to leave, but this little dude, even though he's 6 pounds and 12 ounces, God sent him to take my place. So now he's here to take care of my daughter. So I don't have to worry about it. And that's the thought I had was, I don't have to worry about it. It's been my biggest concern is who's going to take 'Cause me and her been really, really tight. I mean, she's my baby girl, and she's a daddy's girl, always has been. And but that was my thought the other day. Was I was so worried about who was going to take care of her. With her husband, she's got a great husband. He spoils her to death and takes care of her and loves her and treats her like she's supposed to be treated.
Well, that's
nothing,
really nice.
Nothing against him, but that was the feeling that come over me was, God telling me I can relax because I sent somebody here that takes care of your little girl. You don't have to worry about it no more. You can come on home and quit hurting.
Yeah. Well, you're a mensch, Jerry. Alan will agree with me.
Yes. Yes, you are.
I appreciate that. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate that.
Well, you have no idea how much you mean to us on the network and how we're hoping that things go easy for you. And you seem to be in peace, and I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, well, I had a much better day today. My feet 2 days ago, my feet were so swollen that every time I'd take a step, I was just screaming, nagging me. It hurt so bad because both of my feet were so swelled up. Well, they managed to get some of these.
That's from the chemo, am I correct?
It's from the cancer, from the tumors itself. The tumors are retaining fluid. And so and also they'd had me on a steroid, and evidently the steroid was making me retain fluid too for some reason. But anyway, they was able to stretch and listen. They was screaming and I was screaming, and we made our way through it. And they got these compression hoses, which are real tight socks that fit around my feet and all the way up to my knee. And that pushes the fluid. That keeps the fluid down. And I woke up this morning and I was able to walk without screaming. So that's been a big blessing for me today.
That's good. Good. If you could find something positive that every day is nice. And
that's the key, Tony, to anything. That's the key to anything you face. You can either be mad about it, or you can just do whatever you got to get through it. And then once you get through it, and say, thank you, God, I made it through that. Because one way or another, you're either going to have to make it through it, or you're just going to be, you're just going to have to be miserable. That's all there is to it. You have to find a way. You got to find a way to get through it. That's all you can do.
Well, I'm hoping you'll come back and join us next Friday.
Well, if I'm here, which I hope I will be, I will certainly be honored to do that, sir.
Beautiful. Gene, Al, is there anything you'd like to close the show with, gentlemen?
Yeah, just one thing. It wouldn't be a Cardinal program if their all-time great Stanley Frank Musial wasn't mentioned, so I'm mentioning him.
Nice. That he is their all-time great. I've never, ever heard one negative word about Stanley Musial. Stash.
Not because there aren't any.
Right. Nobody has said anything bad. And to be Gene's other hero is Kenny Boyer. And
yeah, he was a good player and a good manager. I thought he was a good manager too.
Yeah.
Keith Hernandez gives him a lot of credit for his success.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I did not know that. That's very interesting how players pass stuff on. And Nice. Thank you, guys. We'll be back next week, and I don't know if you know, Jerry, you signed to a 5-year contract. I expect you to fulfill it.
I'll try my best, brother. I promise you.
Just do the best you can.
I will do that. I will do that.
Hang up. My phone is on the fritz.
Okay, Al.
Okay.
Bye, Gene. Bye, Jerry. Bye, Al.
Okay.
If you're listening out there, it's the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and it's just farewell. It's not goodbye. Adios.
That's right. That's right. Well, good night, guys. I've enjoyed it. I'll catch you next week.